Welcome to the Bliss of Art. I'm Mary Boehme, owner of Mary to Art Studios, and thank you so much for joining me. Today we are painting Seashell. Seashell. I tried to do some seashell poems down by the seashell. She sells seashells, and it was just couldn't get it out of my mouth. I don't know why. I just have struggling with those, and my grandsons, they could do it just like that. But we're going to have fun with seashells and probably some of the things you didn't know, and I certainly didn't know. Maybe you do know that there are no two shells that are alike. In fact, some have ridges, like this shell here. Lots and lots of ridges and beautiful colors on the inside. And then some are smooth, like this shell. This is kind of similar to what we're going to be painting today. And shells open up only to the right. I didn't know that. And then we have this beautiful grayish color with some white highlights. And then another seashell that has some gray and the beige colors. Beautiful shells. And you can find them everywhere when you go to the ocean, down by the seas. You know, you can hunt for them in the morning. It's fun to collect them. And their patterns are random. They aren't random, I'm sorry. They're kind of like, there is a creation to a seashell. Now, how that is created, go ask your mother, because I really don't know. I'm sure it has a lot to do with the waves and the salt and the way the shells are being bleached. And there are no two shells alike. And most shells are very similar, you know, most shells are very unique, that's for sure. Okay, so shall we get started? Let me explain what I have done so far. So far, I have created, I put a white base over my entire media paper. It's 16 by 20. I like the larger sizes because it helps you to see better, because I can't move the camera to the painting, so sometimes I have to bring the painting forward to you to see it better. Unfortunately, I'm a one-person crew, and so I would rather paint than move the camera around, but maybe someday I'll be there. The paints that I'm using are magenta. This is a paint that you use sparingly, very, very sparingly, because it has lots and lots of pigments, and it's very difficult to remove it once you get it in there, and you'll waste a lot of paint trying to do that. A primary yellow, and these are all acrylic paints. This is one of my favorite colors. It's an aqua blue. I love this. And titanium white. I always use titanium white. I don't know why, but I started it and I got a big gallon of it. I ordered it before we had all that craziness with this virus going on. So order your paints, and you'll probably wait a while to get them, but you know, it is that craziness, so don't worry about it. Just do what you can, and don't feel like you have to have these particular paints. I mix a lot of my own custom colors through using the primary red, yellow, and blue, and I can create almost any color with that, and white and a little bit of black. In fact, I like to create my own black, and what I do is when I have leftover paints, I don't throw them away. I mix them all together, and I have a really nice black. And so I always have a black on hand, because I always have colors left over at the end. And other times I'll use those colors and create some more art. So we're going to get really creative today with the seashell. And we're going to start off really dark. And I'm going to be giving you some of my secrets. Shh, don't tell anybody. I'm going to get, well, you can. I'm just kidding. You can share these secrets with anyone, because somebody shared them with me, so I'm going to share them with you. All right, I start off prepping my brush, and I like this big old fat brush. It's about 2 inches, and it's got bristles, really hard bristles. It's nice and stiff on the end. And I'm going to dip my brush into water by prepping it and grab my paints. I'm sorry I'm out of the frame, and I will be for a second until I can grab these paints over to the side. Pulling off the lid. I always keep this on the top of my acrylics. You can see how it has all the different colors I'm using, and even a puzzle piece to kind of separate the colors out, so I do not have so the paper doesn't touch the paints as much. Okay, and here are my paints, and I'm going to pull them out of the little holder that I use, a container for keeping my paints nice and moist. Watering them down continually because you want to keep those paints nice and moist. Now I used my primary colors, my red. There's a little hair going there. That doesn't look like it's mine. A red, and this is a magenta red, and this is just a primary red here. And then I have sort of a purple mixed, and I created that by red and blue and a little bit of yellow. And the greens are the colors that I'm going to go with the shell. And so I always create three colors. Yep, 3 fingers. I always create a dark color, a medium color, and a light color out of my colors that I'm going to be using mainly for the painting. And then I created a brown, and a brown is red, yellow, and blue all mixed together, heavy on the blue. And then I keep my white in the middle, and I realize I need to add some more white to that, and so I might be doing that a little bit later. Okay, so starting off, taking my brush, it's already slightly damp, and I'm going to go with the medium green right here. And I've outlined my picture and put the yellow base in there, and then I took the green and added just touches of green here and put it in like a Z shape. And the reason you do that is because you want your eye to come here and go all the way around the picture, so you got to force the eye to do that with your colors. And when you do the Z shapes or the S shapes, it allows your viewer to go all the way around that picture. So keep that in mind when you're painting next. So let's, as you see, I've got this outline. I'm not going to paint the tip because I want to leave that a bright color, but the big old brush is going to go in circular, semicircle motions, and then I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to go kind of towards the edge and bring that in here because this shell curves. It has a curve that goes around like this, and so I want to create that form. And you can see that my base color is starting to show through, which is great. You want that to happen. Okay, go over here, and then I'm going to go down. Now this area in here is kind of flat, so I'm going to paint that not in circular motions, but in a flat area. It's like a little shelf. Adding more paint and going over here to the bigger area, and I'm going to make some large strokes going in because that's the form to the shell. It's okay if you go outside the lines. Nobody's going to yell at you, especially me, because I do it all the time. Making semicircular motions with my brush, just really jabbing it on there nice and hard. Coming down here to the bottom, you can see the shell is starting to take shape. Circular motions. More paint. Coming down here to the bottom. And then I'm going to go on this side here. I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to go in this way. Go out that way, I should say. Because that gives more swirling movement to your painting and to your round shapes. You do not want to lose your round shapes, especially in a shell. Okay, you can see once again that I didn't go that far out. I'm just going to go lightly over here. I want those streaky marks. Set my brush down. Grab another, oh, I want a big rounder brush. Okay, now this brush here, I'm going to take and go along my edges and start blending some of this paint in. And I'm going to go with the light color and maybe even add just a little bit of white to make it just lighter in here, because this is going to give it movement by adding these strokes going in. Don't worry about going outside the lines. You can see that it's starting to look like it's got dimension to it, and that's what you want. You want that dimension. And then this right here, I need to grab my little shell that I'm looking at. That's my example. Okay, and this kind of curves around this way here. So I'm going to take a little bit of the light color, dab it in a little white, and do the same thing. Now that color is going to fade, start fading. So I'm going to put white on top of that. And then I'm going to go down here to my shelf, little shelf that I created. Remember, these are flat strokes here. I just kicked my little holder, so sometimes you'll hear crazy sounds going on in my studio. I'm the only one in it, so it's all my sounds. And then same thing here. I want to take this stroke and go out, semicircle shape, and then I'm going to start blending some of these really soon. This I wanted to come out almost like a pumpkin shape. That's what it reminds me of, is a pumpkin. And that I'm going to blend with my fingers. I'm going to blend it in towards the shell with my fingers, give it a nice soft edge. Same thing here, blending it with my fingers, adding some of these other colors here. Now this is going to go this direction, and that's going to go that way, because if you bring those two sections together, then you're going to have a circle, right? And that's what we want. We want some nice, oh, what's a word for it? Not smooth, but we want some faded edges is what I would say. So I'm going to put some white on this rounded brush on one side. The other side, I'm going to put the light minty color right here. And I'm going to do this edge right here. And I'm going to come on this side. So take the stroke, go along the edge. You can see that those white colors are coming out, and those lighter colors giving that more of a feel of a circle. Come down here. And then this kind of comes in, this bottom part. And it's starting to fade. The color is starting to fade. So I'm going to add some more white. Down here, we're going to have a little bit of shadow coming at the bottom, just to give it some interest. Okay, blend some of this in, that color that I have on my brush. And then take my hand, and if you've been following my paintings, and I've got a little drip I need to wipe off, it wants to get on my shirt. Okay, if you've been following my paintings, you know that I blend with my fingers all the time, blending, adding some depth, adding some actually texture from my finger. Blend, blend, blend. Blending on this side, making my semicircle motions. I like this little bit I left in there, and you can even take your paper towel and pull some of that color off. I wet it slightly, and now it's going to pull some of the color off, doing semicircle movements. Go back in with my brush. Go the mint green, a little bit of white, and maybe a little tiny bit of purple. I just love those colors. Coming on this side. Adding some darkness in there. Look at that beautiful color coming out. Shaping our shell. And the reason I didn't fill that in, because that's going to have some nice kind of a light grayish color with a little bit of purple. Actually, I'm not going to use this. I'm going to set this down because I want to use a smaller brush. I want to use this angler brush. White, yellow, a little bit of brown. On one side, I've got it all loaded with color. And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to start making some of these separations. There's a separation right here, going in a half circle and coming around like that. There's a separation right there. Same thing. Bringing my brush up, going in, blending. The next one, white, gray, brownish gray, and then a little bit of purple. This one's going to be a little thicker line, so I'm going to come in right about here, come down. Oh yeah, look at that separation, gorgeous. With those colors, I'm going to take those and bring your circle around as much as you can like that. Same thing on this side here, because that gives the feel of a circle. I went outside a little bit, but that's all right, who cares? It's my painting. Then I'm going to do that again. White, yellow, purple. And then start up here in this corner. Come around, zoom right through there. Oh yes. Okay. Clean this brush and get another brush because I do want to start blending some of those. And I'm interested really in just blending the colors in and not using too much water too much paint on the outside. I just put water on this brush. And so I'm moving some of that paint around, giving it some light shadows and blending this in here, bringing the stroke up and going around here so I can get that feel that there's a circle going on. Same thing here, bringing some of that paint in, giving it a feel of a circle. Because if you paint it flat, just up and down strokes, your painting's going to look flat. And you don't want your painting to look flat. You want to have some nice shadows in there. You want to have lots of dark areas. So you definitely, excuse me for a second. All right. Let's do that again. Going in with just some water, maybe just a little bit of white because I want this to start fading out here on this side. Okay, I've got some light colors. I'm going to go up here first with some white. The top of the shell, blending that curve in there. Same thing here. I'm going to add some yellow there a little bit later. Bringing this out a little bit more. And bringing this out a little bit more. Starting to fade. Down here, same thing. Adding some depth. Beautiful, beautiful colors. Making these strokes coming around, going over some of those existing colors, giving that feel to a flatness right here. A flatness is created when you're doing up and down strokes. Blending it in. Remember, folks, this is just a little bit of paint on here. There is not much paint. I think I'm going to go a little bit darker to give that right in here to make it stand out. Flat strokes going into that line that was created. Flat, and then blending out. I'm wiping down some of the paint off my brush, going in for just a little bit of white, dipping my brush in the water, taking off some of that paint, and then adding some blends right here at the end and going in. Coming down here, you'll see that little semicircle showing you, telling the eye that this is going around. I pulled some of that darkness out, but that's okay. It can be fixed. There's no such thing as mistakes. All right. Now I'm going to dip my brush in the water, add some of that lighter color, that minty green, and maybe just a little bit of purple to tone that color down some. And then I'm going to go in here, and there's like on this shell, there's like a line that starts up here, and it comes down, and it goes around, and it's going to be really dark. So I'm going to go in there and grab a lot of purple. And then it forms like a C shape. Remember, we're looking in our art, we're looking for shapes. A C shape, forming that line, blend that out, going around. If you got a dark color, you want to surround it with some medium colors and some light colors. And then I'm going to blend that in. There's just barely any paint on here. This brush, I want some of that yellow to show through. Water, a little bit of white, dulls the color down. That's what water does. I mean white dulls down your color. I'm going to take this in and blend it some with this to make it force the eye to move around in a circle. White down here at the edge because it's getting away from the light. So we're dimming that color out. Coming in here, bringing the colors up. You go back and forth with that brush. And then a good tip that my art teacher used to always give me was she said, surround the edges with white. That's going to really bring the picture out. Bring a little bit of that white in here and make it feel like it's one piece, and there's all kinds of pieces in there. That shell, bring my brush right there, and I'm going to add a little bit more to this line. Dip it in a little tiny bit of yellow and some white, and then just go along that line again, kind of using jerking motions. I like this part here, so I'm going to leave that alone. And I want that to curve around, so I'm going to bring some of that white in and curve it in towards the center. Now our shell is really taking shape. I want to add some more white and a grayish color because shell has lots of dirt in it. I don't want to add too much white because what white does is white just really, it dulls the colors, and I don't want to dull the colors. I just want to get some lines in here. And then I want a light right next to this dark because that's going to make the dark show up a little bit more, and I want to blend that in. Come on this side, clean my brush, and then I'm going to go with a bristle brush. I like bristle brushes. They really give your, they have really a hardness to them, and it does really good blending. You can blend really well with the shell, with the brush. I mean, you can blend the shell really well with the brush. Trying to hold my brush at the end. Bringing that around, making the eye go around here because you want circular feels. Even adding some just strokes, craziness, what I call it. Okay, now we're going to go in with the really dark. That's some of my favorite things to do. And I'm going to do just a flat brush to make some lines. And I'm going to go with that really, really dark green that I have. In fact, it isn't even as dark as I like it. I might add a little bit. Let's see. What darkens green is red. Red, the opposite color, is what's going to darken it. Just like think of Christmas time. Okay. And it's still not as dark as I like it, so I'm going to grab some of this brown that I created, and I'm going to start adding some crevices or creases, whatever you want to call them. And I'm going to come in here, right about here. Actually, I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to do some strokes. Going that way and sort of like making a V, coming out this way. Using my fingers because my fingers give it lots and lots of texture. Blending it a little bit more. Going along this edge here, I want that to really come out. So I'm going to add a line in there, and I'm going to blend it in with my fingers because I can. Then I'm going to add some more ridges over here on this side. There's lots of dark areas. In fact, I put some water on my brush because I just want to I want the green to bleed through is what the effect I'm trying to get. And you can see that is working. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. And then here, this is flat, remember? So we want just straight strokes. This is a flat ledge. Then this stroke can go that direction, and this can go that way, and then I'm going out. Then I'm going to add a little darkness, little brown to this edge here because I can and I want to. I like it. So I got too much paint on that brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down for a second, and I'm going to use my maul stick. And a maul stick is an excellent thing. It helps to give you a really good, sorry I'm out of the frame, but the maul stick gives you some sturdiness. And this is one I've created, and I hit myself on the head when I think I'm going crazy because my painting might not be turning out like I want it to. So it just gives me some steadiness right here. And then I'm going to add some light. I'm going to add dark on the top, and then I'm going to add light on the bottom. More paint. Where did you go, paint? There you are. Using my maul stick, getting in this little corner here. And I'm going to put light on top of that, bringing it around, making the eye, forcing the eye to go around with that stroke. I'm going to bring this underneath, come down this direction, get more brown. I like that white space, so I might not get rid of that. I might just leave that there. Okay, now this part here, since this is a flat piece, this is going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to darken that since I've got my brown out. Add some water, not hold on to my maul stick, which I like to do. But it gets in my way, so I'm not going to do it. Okay, on our little example here, this curves, there's like a line that comes down here, and then it waves in here, and then it comes in here, and then it goes around like that. It's just dark space. And don't worry about it if you get it on the line you already created, because we can blend that in. And there's some more dark spaces right in here. Barely put some paint. I put lots of water on that brush. Put the shell down, don't need to hold that. And this shell's kind of old, so it's got some creakiness going on. Okay. Yes, I like that. I'm liking it. Blend that with my fingers and then go over again with some lighter colors. And then I'm going to add some darkness over here. Just a little bit. There's just a little bit of paint on my brush. Little tiny bit. You're moving the paint around with your, it's not totally dry, so you can move it a little bit. What do you think? Looking pretty good. Take a smaller brush here and start getting some detail in there. And the first detail I want to use, first of all, I got to grab my paints, is I want to put a white up here in the top. Pushing the paint in. I'm not painting up and down. I'm just pushing that paint in. And then I want to add some white coming like in this area. The white will actually be on the top. Blending that in. Starting to take shape. Oh yeah, shell. And then I'm going to go again on this one here, put a white on top of that. Going across that line that I created earlier. Giving it that circular feel. Yes, 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 yes. Circular, circular. Okay. Now the fun colors, the yellows. Yellow on one side. And what color do I want to put on the other side? Yellow and, purple. Yellow and purple. Okay, yellow on one side, purple on the other. And then I'm really going to define those lines now. Pull off some of that paint. Same thing here. I did yellow on one side, purple on the other side. Coming in, going on top of this line here, letting some of the white show through. Whoops. Too much purple, not enough yellow. Come back, grab it again. Coming up here to the edges. Blend. I don't want to blend too much. And right here, one more time, I need my mall stick again. Set the paints down. Put yellow. I hope they don't fall to the ground. A little bit of purple. Get my mall stick. Rest it here at the top and then go around this corner. Ah, don't fall. Color wheel, I love you. Stay with me. Oh, I got some yellow on there, but that's okay. I'm going to blend that in. Bringing it around in a circle, not hitting my head with that mall stick. Okay, let me take my fingers, just show you a little trick, what I do when I do a stroke that I didn't intend to do. Wipe my hands and just take it and blend it in. Look how it gives it a nice greenish yellow highlight in there. Okay, now I need to define some more colors, but I'm going to use my angler brush again. I want to add some more of that dark green. It seems like it's faded out some. I'm going to add some brown to that dark green up here at the top. It's still not as dark as I like it, so I'm going to try adding some blue in there. Oh yeah, that's exactly the color I want. This is ultramarine blue. Normally I don't like mixing with my my brush, it's not a good idea, but that's all right. It's my painting. I don't care. Okay, so I'm going to come up here, and underneath this, there's going to be a little bit of shadow. Too much paint on my brush. Come to this side and rest my arm and try not to get too much paint on it. This is going to be straight, and then this is going to start going at an angle. Bringing the paint down. Same thing here. Bringing it in at an angle. Grabbing some more of that dark blue. Creating my line. Giving the eye a feel of a shadow coming in. Maybe thin that line out just a little bit. Now this is the flat part, so I want to flatten that out. This one, I want it to come in that way. Oh, look at those beautiful colors. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Then I want to surround this line here with some of that color, adding some more color on the outside, giving it some more shape. More blue, ultramarine blue. Bring it in here. I don't want that much paint on there, but I do want that shape, that form. And same thing here. I want some more shape, but not a lot of paint. We don't need to add too terribly much paint. Okay, and then down here, that was hurting my finger. I got to move that around. All right, this is going to be really dark blue, almost a black. I'm just going to go around the edges at the bottom. This, I don't know what I did there. I guess I can just get those out somehow. I think I must have had some extra paint on my hand. Oh well, that's part of it now. Right in here, I want to add some dark at the top. Then I'm going to add some light. Blend, blend, blend. Dark up here. I like that motion. Flat. That part's flat, so I'm not going to do too much of that. Give it a flatness. And then here, same thing. Add some dark, that dark blue. And thin it out, thin the paint out, and just really go lighter blue in here. And down at the bottom, I actually want to go with a gray, and I did not mix up a gray. Let me see if I have a gray over here. Good, I do. Awesome. It's sort of a greenish gray, but it will work. That's the colors I used from Zelda. We're going to say our shell is a little dirty down here. Going up with the strokes, circular motions. Coming down here, and I'm just going to wet my brush because I don't want, oops, that dripped. I don't want much paint on there. Going around the bottom, bringing the brush stroke up with my fingers. Brush stroke. Is that a brush stroke? Putting color on top of color, folks. That's what you want. Okay, now we're almost finished. I want to add some yellow up at the top, so I need a clean brush because I don't want my yellow to be dull. I want it to be nice and bright. Where are you, clean brush? There you are. Grab my paints. My yellow got muddied a little bit, but I'm going to pull off the top. And then just bring that in up here. Add a little bit of that brown. Coming down the side, just right here a little bit, bringing it in to give it a feel that there's a circle there. And then I want to, this part here, I just want to add some paint right there. I just felt like I needed it, but I didn't feel like I needed to do that. Stick my hand in the water. Oh, well, I've been known to stick my brush in my coffee cup. Yes, it's happened. Okay. Now I don't have a good liner brush, so what I like to do with my really thin lines is I like to outline them with a marker, an acrylic marker. If you're doing watercolors, you can use, markers, crayons, whatever you have, you can use. And I'm going to wet my brush a little bit because I'm going to show you that when I did the background, I saved some of that color. Smart. Because that way you can touch it up along the edges. I need a flat brush because I want to create some edges there. And I'm probably going to need my maul stick again, so I got to be out of your view. I'm sticking my brush in this paint that I saved, taking my maul stick, and I don't want to take some of these colors away because some of these I like, but some of them I just want to make them nice and sharp edges. Right in here, I feel like I need a highlight in there. I went a little bit more than I wanted to, but that's okay. It's my painting, I don't care. This I want to clean up. Blending it out. And you can see the strokes are kind of going diagonal. I want to come over here, clean this edge up a little bit. Right in here. I need some more paint. Some of the tips, folks, that I wanted to give you, which I think have really helped me, is when you're painting something and you're mixing your own colors, hold them up against your object before you put them on the painting, because you can just tell if that color is going to work or not. You can tell. I do that all the time. If I'm holding my paintbrush up to this shell, there's some yellow in there, and I say, that yellow is just a little bit too dark, so I need to lighten it up. And occasionally I will even touch my object with the brush. Not my painting. I'm always touching my painting with my brush, but the object, I will occasionally put a little paint on it. You can see that's cleaning up nicely. Those strokes are just starting to disappear. And then down here, there's some, not problems, but I do want to cover up some of these lines. And I want to fade that out a little bit. And that's what that does too, is it fades that out. You can go right into the painting right here. I wanted to clean that up some. I'm going to take a rag, paper towel, wipe some of that paint off because I think I pulled some of that brown out and I really don't want that brown in there. I want to clean this up here. trying to find the direction that paint is flowing, because I did have it flowing a certain way. Clean this up. And the last thing I'm going to do is add some highlights to this. Right in here, I want to clean this up. That looks kind of nasty, but as you can see, that paint is still wet, so I might have to save that for later till that paint dries some. There's a few marks there. That's okay. Who cares? It's your painting. Okay, I wish I had some more white to add some more highlights. I'm going to dip in my brush and I'm going to add, we're going to say that there's some highlights coming out, maybe right about here, because this doesn't have a lot of depth to it. And this brush, I'm going to just push those highlights in. Let's say that this comes around here and it comes there. We're going to force that eye to go around, and then we're going to make the eye come down here. See how I'm making that S shape that I was talking to you about? Adding highlights. Okay, this is really flat, so this can go straight up and down strokes. More white. Not that much on my brush. Sometimes I overcompensate. Yeah, I know you don't do that, but I do. Okay, I want to add some more highlights. Let's say right around here. There's a highlight here. Okay, I want this to go in this way. And you can see I created that highlight, and it's going to come around. Now the highlights won't be as dark when they get to the bottom. And I'm going to create another highlight. Let's say right around, let's take this light area. Create some more highlights. And the brush is nice. It's a good brush because it's giving me some detail. And I'm going to get just a flat highlight right there. I like that. All right, our seashell is pretty much finished. I always let it sit for a day. That's your best thing. Let your painting sit for a day. Come back tomorrow, look at it and say, well, I need to add some more dark colors in here. Like on Zella, I realized when I created my zombie, Zella the zombie, that she looked too clean. So I went in there and added some drips going through. And I might even do that with this. Get a dark brown and try to do a wash going on where it's just kind of dripping like water's coming off of that seashell. You want a crystal clear photograph that you're using. If you're using a photograph, make sure it's crystal clear, because if it's not clear, guess what? Your painting won't be clear either. You want to set up your canvas and your supplies ahead of time. You know, get those brushes out you know you're going to use. If you're going to put a background, you're going to do an underpainting. What? What's an underpainting? Well, I did an underpainting with sunflower and a few other paintings. It's just a painting that you want the paint to bleed through to give the color some extra pop to it. So use those colors, bring those bright colors in, darken it if it's a dark, dirty shell. You certainly don't want really bright colors, or maybe you do, I don't know. Test your colors on a paper towel before you put it on your canvas. It's so hard to get it off once it's on there, so test it. Mix new colors in small amounts. Yes, I'm whispering. It's tiny, tiny, tiny amounts, because I've wasted so much paint before thinking, oh, this color is starting to happen, and I'm adding more white, and then pretty soon I said, oh, this color sucks big time. But it will work as far as, you know, creating a black color, because I never waste paint. Mix new colors in small amounts, do an underpainting, test your new colors. Make sure what you're painting is meaningful to you. This painting, I love it because this shell, I mean, it's like right here. There's a big old spot right there. I want to reach out and grab it and hold it in my hand. And And shells remind me of going to Panama City and visiting my daughters, you know, or St. Petersburg. Yeah, I go every year, so I see shells all the time, and they're very special to my heart, just like you are. Very special to me as well. I hope you're not alone during this crazy time, that you are making those phone calls, you know, calling your neighbors, seeing how they're doing, taking them extra food. If you have extra ham from Easter, take them some extra ham or baked potato. Ooh, they will really appreciate those homemade donuts. My husband Gary makes the best homemade donuts ever. He could sell them. Maybe that's his new job. So wear the mask and the gloves. If you have to go out, try to really not go out if you don't have to. And I know it gets boring, but find something you love doing and do it. So, I do want to remind you, and I'm sorry I have to get in your face on this. I got to get to my cell phone. I want to cue up some music because we do the happy brush dance at the end of every session. I want to remind you that I am on YouTube 3 o'clock Monday through Friday, and I would love for you to visit my website and to subscribe. Subscribe. That's a hard word for me to say. But I do want you to subscribe to my website so I can be easier to be found. Where's my iTunes? There they are. And remember, my program is called The Bliss of Art. And I love doing this. It is one of my favorite things to do. It's, believe me, a lot of work. A lot of work for me to do this, but I just love it. And I hope you love painting along with me, because I like having friends with me when I'm painting. And I feel like we've become friends, you know. I've done probably 15 videos by now, and you know, you're my friend. Thank you for being my friend. Okay, I believe we are there. Grab your brushes. I'm going to grab mine, and we're going to sing along with Bill Withers. I'm looking for another brush. This is the only brush I could find. All right, come on, play. Why won't you play? There we go. Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. You can be mine. I'll help you to carry on, for it won't be long till I'm going to need somebody to lean on. Sing along with me. Pain. We all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we all think there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be there for you. I'll be your friend. Yes, I will. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm going to need you to lean on. Call those friends. Don't text, call. Get on that phone. Forgive that person who has hurt you. Forgive them. Call them up and ask to be forgiven if you've insulted somebody. We all have. And it's okay. We're human beings. We have those emotions. But please, don't hold those grudges. God wants you to release those grudges to Him. He took them from you. Hum along. Need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Folks, I'm here Monday through Friday, 3 o'clock daily, Check out my YouTube site. Check out my website, marytoart.com. And it's been my pleasure as usual. God's peace to you. And thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.